So, the idea for today is going to be, let's figure out, or let's talk about what we want to see out of the back leg. How can you get the best out, or the most out of that back leg?
There's nothing more powerful in a throw than using the ground. Doesn't matter the technique, doesn't matter the size of the quarterback, doesn't matter how much weight you lift. If you aren't generating ground force, you are missing a huge aspect of throwing the ball with velocity.
And with the idea here is we're going to show you a quarterback that's not getting the most out of the ground, and then compare that to somebody that is. So
take a look.
So we'll start here at the end of the drop back, and we can see the push is really, that is the push right there that happens. So he goes and absorbs on that back leg, and this is a thing that we see is that it ends up being much more of kind of an adductor, so like that inside part of the leg activation, rather than getting good glute max activation and good rotation out of the hip. So you can see how he's kind of internally rotating there in that knee, and that's how he pushes forward. And now, because he did that and didn't actually generate force from the hip, you can see what ends up happening is that he leans over to the side and has to generate, leaves those hips behind, and has to generate much more force out of that front leg, and ends up being out of the arm as well.
Yeah, this guy's early. He's premature on his weight distribution is what I'm really seeing, is that he is not landing and getting his hips set in a position to really attack. He's hitting that back foot, and this right now is the power he's getting. That's all he's getting right there. His left foot was way too early. His back weight is not ready to explode. Like any sport, not just football, whether you're a boxer, a baseball guy, whether you're any type of sport where you need to generate power from the back end, you've got to really be able to stay back and move together from coil to recoil. And there's a lot of it's just an epidemic. There's a lot of guys that don't understand how important it is to really get the weight back. I always say it's like the ocean tide, man. Let it come back to move forward. There's some Miyagi things going on with it. Let the right knee sink into the ground a little bit. Yeah. Let it drop. Let it drop. Let the weight be distributed from one side to the next and explode through the throw.
And then you can see how he ends up having to produce force as he leaves that hip behind. He arches his back almost too and leans over to the side, and then everything's getting generated from here upward rather than, you know, using those hips, and really everything is part of it. You know, I'm not saying that you want all the force here. We're saying that we want to use everything, and you're just not using anything below here, which is, you know, just inefficient.
And let's mention with this quarterback, that first quarterback he's a kid. He's probably 14, 15 years old. Big kid. Mm-hmm. This guy is a professional quarterback. This guy has learned to get ground force incorporated into every throw. Now, this right foot is locked into the ground. It is waiting, and then push. And that left knee is not going anywhere. It is absorbing the ground rotation that's happening from the back leg. There's a lot of power being generated from there. He is waiting. He's letting the hips go and waiting for the last minute to drive off that back right foot.
So you can see what happens at the bottom where he's transitioning here and he's not pushing off as much as the last guy. It's much more of a rotational type of movement at that hip where everything is getting involved and everything is firing together. Look at how everything is moving right there smoothly, and that's just on the bottom part, but then you can see how well and how smooth it ends up to look at the top. So, you know, he goes and gets that all nice and moving and the upper body's going the same way, so everything just gets unloaded all at the same time. Look how everything is all straightened out and it's ready to just go and push off.
Yeah, there's a lot of ground force happening. There's a lot of push.
Yep.
You've got to be able to use that back leg properly. But we need to understand how important it is to get that knee sunk down and drive. From the waist, be tall. From the bottom, use the ass and use the leg to drive. And it's a game changer. It's really a game changer.
So we'll finish off this video by showing you the differences between the two with the push off and how the left leg isn't stable, extending at the left leg, not leaning forward like what you were saying before, making it so when the ball crosses the midline, the hips are way behind in comparison to what we saw with Brian, where everything crossed the midline all at the same time.